cuties thing if you didn't delete Netflix and a flash in the pan of fake outrage, I would say watch that movie, and I'd pick up that book if you got $25 to spend.
Okay, let's see.
I got books I'm looking forward to that hopefully I can read. And of course, everyone has to stay tuned for my Irishman.
Yeah, for your Irishman review,
which is in the works. I'm still watching it. It's a long movie.
Another book that I'm starting out on is Hezbollah, Politics and Religion by Amal Sagrayab.
A little light beach reading.
Yeah, a little light beach reading. I have a lot of books about the Middle East that I like to recommend. And this book about Hezbollah is perfectly appropriate to recommend in public settings. Obstacle to Peace by Jeremy Hammond, while I'm on a roll talking about my Middle Eastern politics books. Obstacle to Peace by Jeremy Hammond is another good book. Jeremy Hammond has been a guest on the Tom Woods Show. He is a libertarian. I mean, if you're listening to the show, I shouldn't really need to disclaim the kinds of books I'm going to recommend and the kind of authors that I recommend. If anything, you should assume that that when I recommend a book, that the person is like libertarian friendly, unless I say otherwise, even if the subject sounds like it's some kind of shit-lived nonsense. I promise. Actually, in the interest of disclosure, Amal Sagrayab is, I think, some kind of like lefty socialist. They have a Muslim father and a Christian mother, if you care about that sort of thing. For a book about Muslim groups, Jeremy Hammond is American. It doesn't really matter where he is. But yeah.
Really? Oh, the name sounds like an English name.
United States born and bred. Smart guy. And I would certainly recommend it, especially if you hear like the things that I talk about, or you're interested in learning about, Israel-Palestine stuff and America's relation to it, but you're not really sure what, where to start, right? You would observe correctly. Listen, most of these books taking, it seems to be like, the right is pro-Israel and the left is pro-Palestine. And you're like, well, if even if I wanted the alternative Palestinian view, what if it's like written by some lefty? I'm not going to enjoy that, right? Or, yeah. So I would recommend you start Obstacle to Peace, Jeremy Hammond.
Did you read Sheldon Richman's book on that?
No, I haven't read Sheldon Richman's book on this. And if you wouldn't start at Obstacle to Peace, where else would I? No, that's where you start. That's got it. It's a long book, but it will certainly, you will be...
comprehensive?
Yeah, you will be pretty... Yes. At least as far as America's relation to it goes, although it gives a lot of historical background. But it's certainly a good place to start for any conversation, especially if you're not going to get into if you're not going to get into Palestinian solidarity work or whatever, right? And you just want to talk to Americans about American interests in this thing, Obstacle to Peace is like one and done. You don't really need to read anything more than that. Like if you really, want to be a weirdo, and really get into the weeds of this, then yeah, I have some other books to recommend. But for now, if you're listening to this and you just want to hear the alternative view, not just from me, then Obstacle to Peace. I know I've said the title a bunch of times, but yes, the writer.
You get $1 every time you say it.
Yeah, right. And if you want to hear a Tom Woods episode about it, it would be the Tom Woods Show, episode 739, and so on.
And so on. And so forth, and so on. I think that's all we got.
Yeah. Until next time.
I gotta say, I still can't believe you just you wanted to have the last word so bad that when I said no, go ahead, you had to come back with another recommendation.
Because I was looking at my bookshelf while you were talking. I didn't even listen to a word you said.
I know. Of course not.
So, until next time.
Have you watched Do the Right Thing yet?
I mean, I've seen the movie already.
Yeah, but have you watched it again with fresh eyes?
Oh, no.
Of course not. Why do we never do what Dan wants to do?
Until next time, I'm Marcel.
And I'm Dan.
And this is The Moral Minority. Cue Richard Nixon.
Let us be united for peace. Let us also be united against defeat.